Hey guys, so I'm back home after having completed a 10-day journey from Bangkok to Pai in northern Thailand and back again, including portions of the famous Mae Hong Son loop. I covered just over 2,000 kilometers over these 10 days. I stayed at campgrounds, national parks, and small 3-star hotels. The journey was taken mainly on smaller country roads. I avoided the main highways as often as possible, and I got to reach into some remote corners of the country and see some spectacular scenery. At one point, I was 30 kilometers into the forest on this trail that just suddenly disappeared, and around that time the lower chain guard here on the bike snapped and wrapped itself around the rear sprocket there, and I had to try to fashion a repair, which I was able to do with some duct tape and some basic tools I had, and make myself back out. But it was worth it, these adventures to reach these unique places. In the video description, I'll put some links to the various campgrounds and places I stayed, and I'll include details in the video as to the roads that I took and the routes that I traveled for anybody interested. Anyways, thanks. Enjoy the video and let me know if you have any questions or comments below. Take care. All right, it's getting a little bit dark, so let's try to get this tent set up. Late enough, try to catch the sunset. If not, I'll get up in the morning and I'll get the sunrise. All set. So today I left Bangkok approximately 8 o'clock in the morning, and I rode in total about 500 kilometers towards Tak province, and I'm now nestled up in my tent at a national park about 30 kilometers outside of the town of Tak. And it was a good ride. The problem with leaving Bangkok is that first 2 hours or so, you just need to get clear of all the major highways and all that heavy traffic. After a couple of hours, maybe even 3, I was able to leave the main highway and start exploring some of the smaller roads. I'll add some video clips here of what those roads look like. And you know, they weren't that exciting, and it was all pretty flat. But every now and then I ended up going a little bit off road and going through some little towns and some very pretty scenery. So it was nice, and quite enjoyed it. And so I was even, like, when the road was paved and there was hardly any traffic, so I could still maintain a good 100 kilometers per hour, which is basically the same speed I do anyways on the main roads. So I got to do that with much better scenery and a lot less traffic. So we got to the park, and actually I went to another campground first, but it didn't exist. So I came to the national park here. Cost about 300 baht here for admittance, and also for the tent. And fortunately, they have food here. I was worried about that because I didn't have any food with me. But they had food, so I was able to have something to eat. And then in the morning, I'll get up early and get some sunrise shots. And then tomorrow's plan is to continue northwards towards the Bhumipol Reservoir. And I'm using Gaia Maps as my navigation software. And it's a little bit buggy, but what's good about it is it's easy to find what are called high clearance, unmaintained roads. These are often farm roads, they're often dirt, and it's through beautiful scenery. The riding, you know, I go slow, and I enjoy the scenery. And so hopefully, had a little bit of that today, but hopefully we'll have a lot of that tomorrow. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Time for an update. I'm actually in day 3 of my adventure here, and I'm at the Bhumipol Dam, which is, if I'm not mistaken, Thailand's largest electrical generating dam. I might be wrong, but I think that's true. On my left is the reservoir side. It's the Mae Ping River, has been dammed up, and then on the right is the downstream side, and this is the Bhumipol Reservoir. And later on today I plan to be camping up around the Mae Ping National Park, which is just more or less north of where I'm standing right now. So it's day 3, like I said, and it's actually Christmas Day, so happy Christmas, everyone. And I know you're not going to see this until probably a week or two later, but at least you know that I was thinking of you on Christmas, and my happy thoughts are out there in the ether for you. So, yesterday, I'll put some video up of yesterday's ride, and yesterday was quite the adventure. It was something else. I actually had to give up on my planned journey as the road basically disappeared. I was following kind of farm, unmaintained, high clearance roads up into the forests, trying to make it to Mae Tun. However, the road just vanished, and then I would get off the bike and walk for a kilometer or so and see if it continued, and sometimes it did, and I would fight my way through with the bike to continue. I did that a few times, but eventually decided I had to come back because on the 4th attempt the road just disappeared completely, and then of course had a bit of a wipeout. Nothing serious, but it damaged part of the bike, and for a while there I was worried. I mean, I was 30 kilometers or more into the bush and nobody around, in the middle of nowhere. I'd forgotten to bring water, which was really stupid, so but I found a stream and drank from it, and I was able to repair the bike on site and make it back to civilization, and it's all good. But at the time, it made me realize just how quickly things can go from bad to downright dangerous. But anyways, everything's good now. We're here on day 3 at the Bhumipol Dam, and it's been a beautiful ride so far. Last night I stayed in the city of Tak, which is where I had the bike fixed, and then I rode up here. It's about 35 kilometers north of the town, and like I say, I've got about another 150 kilometers to go to get to the national park. It should be no issue. The roads are beautiful, and I'll put some footage of the ride for you to see there. Okay, and in the meantime, let's take a look at the dam. Enjoy. guys, so just a quick update. Hopefully you can see me all right. I'm here at Mae Ping National Park. It was a great day of riding. Anybody interested in what roads to ride in Thailand, if you're the kind of guy who likes the twisty, curvy roads that heads through mountains, then I can recommend Route 106 between Highway 1 and Mae Ping National Park. Anyways, I'm here at the park. I got the tent set up, and nearby there's some food, so I'm going to go grab some dinner in a few minutes, but just thought I'd give a quick update. Behind me is the northern end of the Bhumipol Reservoir. Earlier today we were at the dam, and now we're at the north end of the reservoir. And tomorrow I'm going to hop on a longtail boat and go and explore a cave downstream. You can only access it apparently by boat, so we'll check that out tomorrow. And otherwise, in the morning, when I'll open up the tent, hopefully we'll have a nice sea of fog out here over the reservoir, but we'll see. Anyways, just a quick update. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you later. So this is the entrance to Mae Ping National Park, and gotta say, it's a pretty nice place. There's 3 campsites where you can set up a tent, or there are tents you can rent, and I've got a photo of the map I'll put up there for you. I ended up staying at Tung Kik campsite, and that's because I was planning on taking a boat this morning. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. But also, that's the only campsite that has food, and I didn't have any food with me, so I kind of had to go there so I could get some food. The other 2 campsites are more in the interior. The middle one, I believe, is called it's not Kolawang is the second most one. It's near the waterfall. It's supposed to be quite good. But the other one, whose name I forget right now, but it's on the map. It's the one right in the middle. I'll put it on screen. It's supposed to be the most beautiful campsite, but there's no food. So if you want to stay there, make sure you bring your own food. Otherwise, you'll be hungry. There's also a different pricing scheme here, and this is quite common in Thailand to have 2 different prices, one for foreigners and one for Thais. And sometimes you can get away with paying the Thai price, but the key thing about it, and this is a shout out to Stuart J. Raj on this one, because if you just kind of stamp your feet and get upset about having to pay a different price, it's not going to work. And the price difference isn't huge. I think it's 100 baht for foreigners and 30 baht for Thais. Well, maybe that's a big difference. You can see in this image that the pricing scheme here, written in Thai and written in English, right? So, but when I arrived here, I spoke Thai as best I could, and I tried to be as clear as I could with my pronunciation. I didn't speak any English, and I have a Thai driving license, and I also have a pink resident card, and I plopped that down on the counter as I was talking to the staff about where's the best campsite to set up, and what are the views like, where can you see a nice sunrise or sunset, and the details about the boat and what have you. And all of this was in Thai, and I was more or less being able to make myself understood, and I was as polite as I could. And I didn't even have to ask, hey, can I have the Thai price? The rangers just said, oh, okay. And they saw the pink card, they saw the driving license, and they charged me the Thai rate, which I think is what will usually happen if you can approach the situation in kind of a mature, kind of calm and respectful manner. I was prepared to pay the 100 baht, and at the last national park I was at, it didn't work, and I did have to pay the full fare, and that's okay. I get that. Other countries have the same kind of system too, where you go to a place and you might have different prices, one for locals and one for foreigners. So. But sometimes here it can be quite extreme, the price difference. I've been to one national park where I think Thais paid 50 baht and foreigners were charged 500 baht, and the rangers were not having any of it. They weren't going to let me pay the lower fee. So in that case, the price was just too steep, and I just turned around and left. And even though it meant 30 kilometers out of my way, but it was the right thing to do, I think, at that case. So if you want to come here, I highly recommend that you bring your own food and stay in that nicer campsite. last point, I did try to arrange for a boat tour this morning. It would have taken me about 4 hours to do, 2 hours out and 2 hours back, and it may be half an hour on site. So 4.5 hours to a cave up on a cliff, quite remote. I was really looking forward to it, but unfortunately when I went down to the dock in the morning, and where the restaurant is as well, the restaurant was all closed up tight. There was a sign on the gate that said no food, and the people I had arranged to take me were nowhere in sight. So c'est la vie, this is Thailand, TIT, these kinds of things happen. And the other thing to understand too is that what's true today might not be true tomorrow. Who knows what happened? It may be the auntie or uncle that usually brings in the food supply was sick that day and they couldn't do it, or the person who was going to take me on the long-tail boat, something came up with the family. And so these things might not be what happened on a daily basis. It's just what happened to me today, so that's why I'm sharing it. But definitely worth a shout out to Mae Ping National Park. The staff here at the front gate were really helpful, really kind, and nice people, and explained everything to me really clearly. So all right, thanks for watching, and I'm off now. My next stop is going to be towards Doi Intanon, and I'm looking for a couple of places to camp in that area. We'll see how it goes. Talk to you later. All right, guys, I hope you're doing well. So here we are. It's day 5 of this journey, and I'm currently on the way to Mae Hong Son, in between Mae Cham and Mae Hong Son. And I just stopped here for coffee and a bite and beautiful view, and just thought I'd do an update. So yesterday's ride was really beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful highways to ride in Thailand, known as Highway 108. And just north of the town of Hot on the way to Mae Cham. It's just stunning, and so I've got some video of that I'll put up. And I made it to Mae Cham in good time, and beautiful ride, very lovely scenery. Mae Cham, Google Map, I went to 4 different places to stay that were marked on Google Map, and first one didn't even exist. The other 3 were just closed. There was no sign of life. Gates were closed. There was nobody around. There was no vehicles, nothing. And I was about to give up and maybe continue towards Mae Hong Son, but I didn't want to do that because it was going to be dark and very twisty road, and I was tired already. Fortunately, found a place eventually to stay, and basic, but it was okay. And Mae Cham's a beautiful little town, but just I don't know why, but everything was closed. Everything seemed to be locked up tight, and all the places that Google said were there just didn't seem to exist. So there you go. Maybe avoid Mae Cham. Anyways, the ride this morning has been great, out of Mae Cham towards Mae Hong Son, up into the hills, into the mountains where I am now. At first it was quite chilly. I left around I think 8:15 by the time I got on the road, and it was riding through morning mist and fog. So because Mae Cham's in a valley, when I left it was all gray, and the roads were quite wet from the mist, and you couldn't really see far. But then as you climbed up, you would emerge out of the fog into heat and sunlight, and then you'd dip down again into the valley, and you'd be back into fog and mist again. And it was like that for the first half hour as I went up and down, until it finally warmed up, and then we have what you see today. So really nice ride so far, and so another hour and a half, maybe hour, to make it to Mae Hong Son. That'll be laundry day. I need to wash up and get the clothes back into shape before I head off. So I'll spend the night in Mae Hong Son, and then we'll move on from there, and then do some more camping. All right, and so I thought this might be a good time as well to give you a bit of a tour of the motorcycle, because just to share with you what I've got and talk about it. And for those of you who ride motorcycles in Thailand, then I'll take you through why I think, at least for the kind of riding I do, this is probably the best setup for me. So let me go get the camera, and then I'll give you some close-ups of the bike and talk you through it. So let's go. A 2017 Honda CRF 250 Rally model, and I picked this up secondhand, I don't know, a year or 2 ago, and it only had about 1,000 kilometers on the clock when I got it. So even though it's a 2017, it had basically been parked most of its life. And so one of the first things I did with it was change these front shocks here. So took out the springs, which were the stock ones, and put in some more durable springs to reduce just how much movement there would be. For the kind of riding I do like to get off-road every now and then, and can be some pretty as you've seen in some of the videos, some roads where you really need a very strong front end. So I needed that, and I did the same with the rear shock. It was already quite soft, so you can kind of see down there the red part, that's the rear shock. So that's been updated as well to something a little more durable. It also allows me to carry a lot of weight, because I often have all my camping gear and clothing that you can see here. The Mono X exhaust was already on the bike when I got it, so I didn't have to change that. And then I had the bike wrapped with the sticker set, so definitely a shout out to Butler Garage, which is where I got the bike. It's me. So Butler Garage, there's their little logo. They're located in North Bangkok, or Nonthaburi, and Kay and his team know everything there is to know about motorbikes, and it's a great place to get work done. And they do a great job. I mean, simple acts like changing your oil. I mean, I can change oil myself, but I'll just take it to Kay at Butler Garage and have him change the oil, because he'll do a lot of other extra things, like he'll check the torque on all the bolts, and he'll look at the sprockets, and look at the chain, and he'll check the electrics, and just make sure everything's in tip-top condition. I did add, as you can see here, a fog light to the front end, and this came in handy this morning. I definitely had this on just to make myself much more visible, and most of the time when somebody runs into a motorcycle, they'll say, "Oh, I just didn't see you." So I'm trying to be seen, and so this is a very bright little light that I just turn on when I need it, and it's been a good purchase. We got some hand grip guards here, and you can see here the switches. So this here is the switch for that light in the front. All right, and then I have a tablet, a Samsung S3, can't remember the exact model. It's in the video description, that I use for navigation. And this thing is quite rugged. Like, it's fallen off several times and still works just fine. So that was a good move. And then mounted onto the front, I'll have a GoPro up top there, which I turn on every now and then when I want to record something. The plastic that you see wedged in there is because it kind of rattles around a little bit, so this stops that rattling. I didn't have that on the first couple of days, so but now it's there, so the video will have better audio for the road part. And then the screen that comes with, of course, sometimes comes loose. So, with any motorcycle, you're always like tightening things up as they shake loose, especially some of the roads that I end up on where it's very rocky and bumpy and things shake around quite a bit. So, and then what else is on the bike that I can talk about? So there is a couple of USB power ports, one right here. Let's get the focus. And another one likewise on the other side, which I'm currently using to power the phone, so you can see it here. And then this goes over to a phone mount here where I clip in my phone. But for navigation, depending on what roads I'm in, I'll be using the tablet most of the time, and I use Gaia GPS as the navigation app. And whereas I won't really use the Google Maps until I get into maybe an area that's more populated, and a town, like I did yesterday, trying to find somewhere to stay in Mae Cheun, and it didn't really work out. But the phone is just here for messages and whatnot, but this is my main navigation tool right here. And but Gaia is a great little app. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but it is a good way to go. All right, so what else can I tell you? There is underneath all of this a rear luggage rack. You can kind of see it here, and I've got everything bungeed up within an inch of its life, so nothing's going to fall off. Book, camping mat, tent, blanket. I don't actually have a sleeping bag. I've got a couple of blankets that I use, but if I need a sleeping bag, most of the national parks will have one that you can rent if you so want. It's the stock sprocket that I have on the bike, so I might change that out one day for a bigger one, but so far it's working well for me. This is what broke. This part right here is what broke on the second day when I tried to do all that off-road work. Sorry for the camera shaking. So I did a repair of this on the trail. So this is just an accessory chain guard, keeps the chain straight onto the sprocket, and this basically snapped off, and it tried to wrap itself around the sprocket here as I was riding. So you can imagine that was not a good moment. But I was able to fix it up on the road and do a bit of a jimmy of a repair. And this chain guard here also came off. So a little bit of duct tape is holding that on now. So I'll leave that there as long as I can. And there you go. I had to shorten the stand a little bit. And anyways, there you go. Good bike. I really like this bike. It's kind of the right bike for me. I don't like to spend a lot of time on motorways, tollways, big highways. I'm not interested in going at 130 or more kilometers per hour. And if I do have to hit the motorway or what have you, this thing will still do 105, 110 quite comfortably. Most of the time, the kind of roads I'm on, 80 to 90, 95 kilometers an hour is the maximum I'll ever do. And this has plenty of power for that. It handles the hills What else? Oh, tires. I have what are called 50-50 tires, so they're designed for 50% of the time being off-road and 50% of the time being on pavement. And again, for the kind of riding I do, that is fine. I'm not whipping through curves at high speed. I don't need a high quality road racing tire at all. This does the trick for me. And it's better than a 70-30, which is 70%, I guess, on-road and 30% off-road, because I find when I get off-road, I get into sand and mud, dust, rocks, and you really need knobblies. In fact, I would much rather have a 100% off-road tire in those situations, but this is the compromise. This is just some gear oil. This morning, before I left, I oiled up the chain and just made sure everything was in good shape. Try to do that every couple of days. I also check the tire pressure almost every day because it seems to lose over the course of a day or two. They'll drop about 5 psi, so I need to keep those in good shape. For the kind of riding I'm doing today, I've got 30 psi in the front, in the back, and the front tire has a 27 psi. If I go off-road for extended time, depending on the type of terrain, I'll let some air out to get a bit better grip, but it just depends. All right, it is a water-cooled motorcycle. You can see the radiator there with the fan, and there you go. Good little bike, really super reliable so far, touch wood, and it's very lightweight, so eventually when I drop it, and I do drop it, usually at low speeds, but it happens every now and then, this is very easy to pick up, and I wouldn't want to get a big heavy bike that if I drop it, you require 2 people to get it off the ground again, especially with all the gear that I carry. Anyways, that's it for now. Everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Well, guys, that was another epic day, another epic failure. I'll tell you more about that later. But I've arrived at this farm, called a farm stay hilltop campsite thing. And I knew this weekend was going to be kind of busy. It's the coming up on the New Year's holiday weekend, so a lot of Thais have time off. So all of the little bungalow shacky things they have are full, but that's fine. I've got my own tent, so I've got a little area here I can set up the tent. That's what I'm going to do now. And sun is just setting. It's getting dark, so I'm going to get a move on here before I can't see anything. Let's go. Let's see if I'm getting any better at this. You'd think so, but I always seem to make some kind of mistake. Here we go. I always seem to do it in a different sequence too for some reason. But hopefully by now I know where everything goes and put everything in the right place. But yeah, I guess as I'm doing this, I'll start talking about the day. So I left Mae Hong Son this morning. I fueled up, put air in the tires, oiled the chain and all that, made sure everything was good. I'm glad I did that. And I chose a route to a place called Ban Rak Tai, which is pretty well on the border with Myanmar. And but I chose a route like I did before, through the bush, basically, through farm roads and single track roads, and it was absolutely beautiful. I'm very glad I did it. But same as before, I got a good 20-30 kilometers in, and the trail just became more and more difficult and beyond my ability to ride. In fact, I had a pretty bad tumble. Shoulder hurts, my right knee hurts, and it's going to be pretty sore tomorrow, but it'll be all right. I mean, that's the cost. That's the price I have to pay if I want to do these things. Where's the door? I do believe that's the door. Definitely want the door so that when I open it up, I'll be looking at nothing but valley, mist, and mountains in the morning. We'll see. We are up high. I don't know exactly how many meters. I could check and find out in a second. Got a bit of a hole right here. I think I'll move back a little bit so I don't step out of the tent in the morning and promptly tumble down the hill in front of me. There we go. There we go. This is good. All right, let's stake them in. Hammer. Stakes. There is no food here, but this time I prepared a little bit with a visit to 7-Eleven this morning, and I've got some ramen noodles and kanom snacky things. Should keep me going. And I picked up some more coffee too. All right. Something just moved over there. Okay. I mean, what a great idea. This family or whoever owns this plot of land or farming it basically said, why not build these little shacks and rent it out. I don't even know how much he's going to charge me. I haven't even talked about that yet. Don't think it'll be much. The bathroom and shower is basically the bathroom and shower that the family uses. So it's kind of a homestay. In fact, it's farm stay is what it's posted at. I found it on the Google map, and it was actually here for a change. Though the pin wasn't quite in the right location, but there's a little village just down the hill from here, not far, and the villagers are clearly used to people getting lost and just kind of waved me on into the right direction. So I've stopped to put some fuel in, and as you can see in the background, we got a parade of kids. There's a school right across the road, and it's some kind of marching band day, and that's what you can see in here. But that's not the main reason I stopped. Let me show you this. I've used it before one time, but คิดว่าใส่นมที่นี่ก่อนใช่ไหมใช่ค่ะแล้วก็เอานี้เสียบลงไปเสียบลงในนี้ก่อนนะโอเคค่ะ put money put this yep and start it like this 100 บาท100 บาทค่ะเฮ้ยโอเคสวัสดีครับนี่ใช่ไหมหัวใจน้ำมัน Thank you. Yeah, so when you're traveling in the more remote parts of the country and you need fuel, this might be your option. I've even seen bottles of fuel that, you know, like old Coke bottles filled with fuel. You just fill it up that way. But this is another idea. You feed the money in the machine and it spits out fuel. It's all in Thai, but some help from the local gal here, and we got it figured out. I've used these before though, and I'm just going to go 100 baht at a time. We're at 97 baht now, So that stopped. Pretty sure that I'm going to need to put in about 250 baht to get it full. Yeah, so let's do another 100 worth. It is a bit more expensive than at a station because, well, you're not at a station. But it's what you got to do. So here goes another 100 baht. There we go. And you have to squeeze the trigger and then hit the green button to go. If you just squeeze the trigger, it won't work. If you just hit the green button, it won't work. You got to do the both together. It's a 10-liter tank, and I can usually get about 300 kilometers max out of that tank. But I always want to leave a bit of room. So I'm currently, I think I've got about 250 kilometers or so, 260 kilometers on the odometer from the last fill up, which means I probably have about 3 liters left, which means it'll take about 7 liters. That's my guess. Can't quite tell which of these is liters. I think this is liters here. So I think I've done 2.5 and 2.5, so that's 5 liters. So yes, it's going to be probably 50 baht. Let's see if I have 50 baht. I don't, but I have some 20s. That's the problem. If you put in money and the tank gets full before you run out of money, then you've just left some gas for the next person that comes along. Here we go. Let's try 60 baht. I think that should do the trick. 40 and 60. Uh-oh, didn't like that one. Try that again. Here we go. All right, let's keep an eye on things. Nope. Let me see if I can see the top of the fuel in the tank here. Oh yeah, we're almost full. That's pretty close. Okay, that worked out pretty well. So that would have been 5, 6, about 6.5 liters, and I thought it would be around 7. So pretty good there. All right, so there you go. Talk to you later. So how's it going? This is probably the final update for the trip. So it's been a couple of days since I've been able to do this, but let's bring you up to date on where we are. So it's 30th and it's day 8 on the journey, and going back a couple of days, on day 6 I was on this farm stay mountaintop place near Ban Rak Tai, which is up towards the border with Myanmar. I rode up there from Mae Hong Son, about an hour-and-a-half ride, not that far. Pitched the tent. Yeah, I'll throw up some photos and video of that area. Really nice. Overnight it was about 14 degrees Celsius, so nice and chilly. But I woke up with a nice view into the valley with the sea of fog below. And at night I also got some great starlight shots, which I'll share. So in the morning, I also was greeted by this goat that had escaped from its pen, so a scapegoat, and it had convinced that my camera and tripod were edible until the farmer came and dragged him back. Anyways, great place to stay. For dinner that night I had mama noodles, which is because there's no food, so I had to bring my own food, which is fine. I just boiled up some of these noodles in a little pot. Very, very easy to do and nutritious. I don't usually throw in the powdered packages that come with the noodles. I just have the noodles straight up, and I had a couple of those packages, and that was fine, and to get me through to the next day. So that next day, day 7, I wanted to ride right to the border. But the problem was so much traffic. It's been a holiday weekend. This campsite is busy. Those campsites in that area were busy. So it took quite a while just to get out of that area. So I kind of gave up the idea of driving up to the border and instead rode all the way into the town of Pai, which is where I am now. And I needed to get here anyways. I realized to catch up with a friend who was going to be in town, and just to make sure I didn't miss him. So that was a good 3-hour ride through the canyons to Pai. Unfortunately, the GoPro camera batteries, I'm not sure what happened, but it just stopped working, so I couldn't get any video of that ride, which is a shame because it's a nice, beautiful scenery, curvy ride, nice viewpoint, but these things happen. But I was able to get to this campsite and charge up all the electrics and make sure I have batteries back in the cameras and everything and ready to go again. So yeah, so I arrived here yesterday. I set up the tent. Tent is just over there. Actually, the first night when I arrived, I set up across the little river here because it was a bit crowded, but then I was able to move the tent to the front the next day, so I had a better view. Yeah, so we're not far from town. The town of Pai is just over here. It's a very short walk, and it's kind of an interesting place. It's what I call part of the hippie triangle of Thailand, where it's like if you're 20 years old and have a goatee and dreadlocks and tattoos and like wearing a tank top, this is where you hang out. It's that kind of like cool hippie vibe place. Khao San Road is the other part of the triangle, and then Koh Phangan and the Full Moon Party is the other part. So, but staying a little out of town like I am here, I kind of avoid the great unwashed as best I can, and mainly the other fellow campers here are Thai families on holiday for the New Year's Eve, and they're here for the for New Year's Eve, which will be tomorrow night. Yeah, so the scenery around here is actually stunning, and if you can, I'd encourage you to at least pass through this area because it is beautiful and a nice place. All right, so that's the update for now. That's all I can think of. Oh, my knee is still kind of sore from the other day, but so I'm going to take it easy and not do too much riding today, and then of course tomorrow, New Year's Day, I'm going to be riding all the way back to Bangkok. So that's going to be an epic long journey. So I want to make sure I'm well rested and in good shape for that ride. So that's where we're at. Thanks. Good talking to you. Talk to you again soon. Happy New Year. See you later.
Yeah.
Hey, you come from
From Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
You stayed in Thailand how many long? How
Long
many
time.
years?
Long time. More than 10 years.
Oh, maybe Chiang Mai.
Yeah. I come from Pai.
Oh.
Pai, but I ไปกรุงเทพ
กรุงเทพโอ้สปีกไทยได้
นิดหน่อยครับไม่เก่งครับ
เซมอังกฤษนิดหน่อย
เข้าใจครับ